Please remain standing as I invite Miss Emily John Descott to lead us in a word of prayer.
Catholics, can you sign yourselves in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Kind and eternal Father, we want to thank you for bringing us all here today. God, I ask that you help us, guide us, protect us, including those who are on their way and those who are watching us live stream. I ask that you guide and protect each and every one of us, including our youths especially. Help us so that we could grasp what our elders are saying and that we may follow in the right footsteps. In your wonderful name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Emily. Ladies and gentlemen, let me first of all welcome those of you who are present here this evening. And let me welcome those who are following us via live stream. Special welcome to those of you who are in the diaspora, who usually make it your business to follow Flambeau live on a Sunday. And as you know, this is where the action is, where we bring you the facts, the truth, and matters that are pertinent to you, St. Lucians, as far as the development and future of your country is concerned. Today, we have stacked in our lineup of speakers a number of young people. And let me inform you that today the young people had a special session. And coming out of this session, a few of them have agreed to speak to us. Now, I have on occasions let the cat out of the bag in terms of what the plans are for the future. I indicated to you already that on our list of candidates, I can already predict that there will be a number of young people who will be candidates. I am not at liberty to tell you who they are, but I'm sure, well, am I telling you that? I didn't say there were going to be any of them among the speakers. I didn't say that. So, ladies and gentlemen, a special edition of Flambeau Live. Of course, you will have some of our people from the leadership to address you as well. Today is Sunday. As you know, there's also a funeral taking place right now in Castries. And it signals the death of the St. Lucia Labour Party. But the big announcement on the actual burial date, they will make it. I know you'll be ready to ensure that you bury them once and for all. So, ladies and gentlemen, there is hope for St. Lucia. There is hope for us. As I say to you, there is the United Workers' Party. And let me tell you from the onset today, you will not be hearing from our political leader because he is on other state business where the person who has been charged with the responsibility for leading this country is not providing leadership. So we are already beginning to take up the slack. So our political leader, when he returns, I think I'll have to give him an extra half hour on his speech to report to you his findings on the mission that he is right now. Well, the funeral procession has started. I was told that is because the Labour Party is Lagoni. I don't know what that means. But when the political leader comes back, I'm sure that will be the final nail in the coffin, and soon after, it will be time for burial. I am predicting that they have to call election very soon, because that CIP scandal, with what it is going to reveal, they will try to beat the court and come before the court so that we do not know the results, because once the result is out, they are finished. But we know what to expect already. And so, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to set the ball rolling. And I said the political leader is not here. Our chairman is soon to depart for a very special occasion in New York. But before he left, we couldn't let him leave without attending this session here today. So we have the chairman of our party, just to set the ball rolling. We're starting off with one of our leaders. In between, we're going to have the youth, and we're going to end with the leaders. So, ladies and gentlemen, could you help me welcome our first speaker, the party chairman, Mr. Terrell Prudent, who will address you.
At the end of the day, the onus is on us as members of this party to defend the people of this country. You hear me? The onus is on us as citizens and members of the United Workers' Party to defend the rest of St. Lucia, and we are going to defend it every working day. Every working day. Thank you. Mamai Flambeau. Come on, guys. Mamai Flambeau. Very good. This evening, I think even my niece is feeling the lave, because at first I came here like a janjo, and suddenly it's telling me that something is wrong with the Labour Party. So it's already starting to give way. But we'll hold on because we have a lot of work to do. You understand? Brothers and sisters of the United Workers' Party, good evening. And I have a special message today, mostly for the young people in our midst. Many moons ago, I was exactly where you are today. Meaning that as early as 9 years old, I gave my first speech in Grosley on Dauphin Street for the United Workers' Party. I was a fearless soldier then, and I am an even fearless soldier today. And as we advocated for our party, because in Grosley we only had 4 young boys, myself, Tom T. George, and Elise I'm talking about there, and one called Diddy Boy, which is Ricardo, alongside a whole bunch of persons who were labor. But we were the only 4 young fellas, and we held the mantle up for the United Workers' Party. And in those days, Grosley was a predominantly SLP constituency. Folks, and to you young people, there's going to be challenges ahead. I want to remind you guys there's going to be plenty of challenges ahead. You're going to find yourself sometimes when you feel that this is too much for me. But I'm asking you to stay the course, because we are depending on you and on your shoulders tomorrow to be able to take this United Workers' Party forward. I want to say to you, in those days, we had a brilliant and very vibrant youth arm, of which I was a part of. And in 1979, as the St. Lucia Labour Party came through, throwing bottles and stones and disrupting meetings around this country, I'm telling you, they're a violent party. They've been a violent party. So don't buy what you see today. What you see today is the epitome of nastiness and violence, which is what the St. Lucia Labour Party have always been about. And there I stood as a teenager with my Flambeau right outside of Loloy, who is Spider's mother-in-law. A bunch of us stood there, and I stood with my Flambeau. Then they took this plywood placard and smashed it in my face. Today, I still bear the scars right here on my face from that period of 1979 as a young kid. But guess what? It reminds me of why we need to continually fight St. Lucia Labour Party. So every day, I look in the mirror and I see the scar on the side of my face. I remember that I have my badge. and I accept my badge, but it's a badge I'm proud of, and I know that I did what was right, which was to stand to them in those days. I'm saying to you, the time is coming when we have to turn over the leadership of this party to a new generation, but not before Alan Shasday finishes work. And when he has done what he has to do for this country, you better be ready, because it will be your turn to be able to do what you have to do for your party. I remember as a young man, and in 1982, I'm giving you the history because it's important that you as young people understand that history. So as you do that fight, you understand there were those before you that did exactly what you did. And in 1982, Sir John said, "You are going to be the campaign manager for Peter Phillip." I did not know what that is. Edna is there. She can remember that. Miss Edna, she's a stalwart. Give her a big hand, please, ladies and gentlemen. She's a stalwart. She can remember those days. And at 17, you're going to be a campaign manager. Boy, I didn't sleep that night because I was wondering, how will we do this thing? But we soon were able to get it together. And then we identify every single Labour friends we had in every single homes who their parents had voted for Labour for all those years but had gotten nothing in return for it. We targeted our friends. We brought them on board. And by the end of that election, United Workers' Party had won that election in Grosley for the very first time. And this was youth at work. Power of young people, what we could do to be able to make that change, bring that change about. And I remember fondly Janine Giraudy's father, Henry Giraudy. The first time we ever was in an executive meeting, they didn't call it executive meeting in those days, they call it the central executive of our party. And he said to us, "I'm bringing you guys in to listen to how we deliberate, how we discuss things for the party. But you must not say a word. Just sit down and observe." And we walked in and we listened. And this was our first understanding that way before I ever understood what Mr. Giraudy meant, he was already thinking of the youth one day becoming leaders in our party. And today I stand proudly before you as the chairman of the United Workers' Party. A very same position that he held back then. I did not understand it, but it took me years for it to unravel, for it to happen. And yes, 1979, we lost that election. My mom, I remember having to have us all go under the bed because all we heard was bottles and stones being pelted at us. What hooligans do these things to fellow St. Lucians? That's the St. Lucia Labour Party. That's what they've always done. That's what they've always done. And so I'm saying to you, you have a better path than we did back then. It was more challenging for us because we were being brutalized. We were being stoned. We were being pelted with bricks and everything they possibly could to hurt us as young people. But in this country, I say to you, you need to stand forthright and fight this Labour Party on every turn that you can as young people here of the United Workers' Party. I say to you this evening, you are not alone. The same way I was not alone. We had Sir John, we had Henry Giraudy, we had people to guide us. You have endless individuals within our party who can help guide you along the way. And you must take advantage of it. And I say, I look around and I say to myself, you know, it's been a long time since we've been fighting the St. Lucia Labour Party, you know. And guess what? In those years, we defeated them over and over and over and over again. And I'll tell you, this time, when we defeat them, we will defeat them for the next 15 years or more, because this is what we need. Our government needs continuity. You cannot take United Workers' Party and Alan Shastney and waste his time. If you're going to give him 5 years, forget about it. Because we need to be able to have enough years so that we can continue to develop this country. And that's what we need. And that's what is relevant, and that is what we need together as a people. I want to say to you this evening, fear not. We don't have to be labor to defeat labor. But we have to stand to labor toe to toe and defeat them, which is what the United Workers' Party has always done. So at the end of the day, I'm never going to ask you to go to the route of violence. I'm never going to ask you, because this has never been the route of the United Workers' Party. What we do is stand to them shoulder to shoulder, face to face, and defeat them right there. That's what we need to do. So when the clarion call comes in and it says that it's time for you to stand up for your party, do exactly that, because you are called to defend the United Workers' Party and to fight body and soul, body and spirit, to be able to remove this nastiness from the face of our country. This evening, I'll say to you one thing. When they ring the bell, and it's coming soon. It will come, because this CIP thing is really bothering these guys. We have them exactly where we wanted them to be. And then one man cannot tell us that when Martinez said that St. Lucia's CIP monies are missing, you tell us you have nothing to do with Martinez. Exactly ula kapalek Martinez there don't know. Behind our backs. So we know very well, and I'm ending by saying, we cannot trust Philip Pierre. We cannot trust the Labour Party. And that is the reason why United Workers' Party must save this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Yes, the chairman brought you back a little in the history and how early he started on the United Workers' Party platform. But what he didn't tell you is what they called him back then. His name then was T-Hash. But ladies and gentlemen, talking about the youth, you know, as PRO of the party, there are so many things they're telling me, but I must not tell you. You know how hard it is, those exciting news? But I will not tell you, because they told me not to tell you, but I'll give you a hint. You know, we just formed a former candidate and candidate forum. That means those who have been candidates. Now, those gone are the days when people used to be candidates of the United Workers' Party, and when they do not have their way, you see them on the St. Lucia Labour Party. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about Mondays and them. Okay? That is not happening today. We, the former candidates, and I can speak on their behalf, will be right there with the prospective candidates for the next general election, doing battle with them. And so let me say, as a former candidate, I'm part of that forum. We have formed a group of former candidates and prospective candidates. Now, when I say prospective candidates, you may be wondering what I'm talking about. There are so many people interested in being a candidate for the United Workers' Party. You know? And that tells me a lot. That speaks volumes for the United Workers' Party. And guess what? Among them, there are so many young people. That, to me, is heartening. And I listened to some of the young people. To be honest, I came to the meeting to talk to them. But we ended up talking with each other. Because they had a lot. They had a lot to say that was of value. The maturity I saw in those young people, I want to announce to you that they are ready to take up the torch. They are ready to take up the torch. And we will be giving them the full support. And so, those of us who are past candidates, like I said, we will be guiding them, we'll be counseling them, we'll be supporting them, but I'm telling you, they are ready. So there are people wondering what is happening as far as candidates is concerned. it is not my job to make that announcement. If you want to hear the announcement on the 22nd? 22nd of September, Juen Korwan Boulevard. Now you know they told me not to tell you that too. I hope you all defend me. It slipped. Okay, it slipped. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am saying all of this to tell you that we are ready for them. And the United Workers' Party is going to be returned to office. And young people, you had your deliberations today. I was not there. I don't know why you disqualify me, but I was not there. Well, there are different youth, you know. There's former youth, there's current youth. So I'm still a youth. So anyway, what I want to say is that in any campaign, which is what we have begun, the women are the driving force and the organizers. But the energy and the impetus of any campaign is the youth. And so, I know the women always play the part, they always step forward to play their role. And I'm seeing the youth are stepping forward now, so I know we're safe. Ladies and gentlemen, let me stop speaking for the youth before somebody reminds me that I'm a former youth. I would like to call on our next speaker, who is a youth. And he was at the function today. I do not know what he will be discussing with you, but if you listen, you will hear from my next speaker, who has already addressed you in the past and was very impressive. And so we are calling on Kishon Fontenelle once again to address you. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to the young man.
Good evening, everybody. Mama Flambeau? Mama Flambeau? All right. So, my fellow St. tonight I address an issue that remains at the heart of our nation's challenges: unemployment. While the St. Lucia Labour Party has introduced initiatives like the Youth Economy Agency to empower our youth entrepreneurs, the reality is that this approach doesn't address the broader problem. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone, and we must consider the many St. Lucians who seek stable jobs and a secure future. Let's look at the facts. Over the past decade, when the United Workers' Party was in power, we saw more employment opportunities across various sectors. The UWP's policies led to job creation for investments in infrastructure, tourism, and local industries. In contrast, the employment rate under the SLP has not kept pace, leaving many of our citizens without the work they need. While the SLP focuses on niche programs, the UWP provided a broader, more inclusive approach to job creation. By attracting foreign investment, supporting local businesses, and investing in vocational training, the UWP ensured that employment opportunities were available for all. Whether you were a young graduate, a skilled worker, or someone looking for a fresh start, over the past 10 years, the employment rate under the UWP was consistently higher compared to the periods under the SLP. This is not just about numbers. It's about real people and real lives. It's about ensuring that every St. Lucian has a chance to earn a living, support the family, and contribute to growth of our nation. We need a government that prioritizes. We need a government that prioritizes job creation across all sectors, not just a few who can start a business. We need to diversify our economy, invest in education and skills training, and support our small and medium-sized enterprises. Only then can we build a future where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. Let's work together. Let's work together to create an economy that works for all, not just a select few. An economy where every solution, regardless of their background or ambitions, can find meaningful, dignified work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, as you heard from the youth themselves, you're going to hear a few more young people address you here today. As I said, this is a special Flambeau Live with stronger focus on us youth. I mean, the youth. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know the bluff continues, but it's just that we're not falling for it. I heard the Prime Minister on Antipol trying to answer a question from Minerva Ward. And of course, he's stammering, trying to talk over her and all of that. And he emphatically denied having any conversation with Mr. Martinez. He also said he didn't have any lawyer having conversation with Martinez, that he only had local lawyers, so he did not know what she was talking about. But Lankaka, his main mouthpiece, Richard Frederick, had to expose the man by coming on his talk show and saying that Pip, he said it, Pip said he's not paying the 9 million and so on. So who did he say that to? Honestly, those guys are so embarrassing that if it wasn't a serious issue, it would make for good comedy. But ladies and gentlemen, their backs are against the ropes. All of a sudden, the CIP money we've been asking for is beginning to reappear. You're getting CIP money for health? By the way, what happened to our 2.5% for health? Was it? I was the only one that was told that I had to pay 2.5% for health and security? After paying my 2.5%, the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association said that the health situation in St. Lucia is the worst that it has ever been. After paying my 2.5% for security, our statistics on homicide is the worst that it has ever been in this country. And today, that's the progress they're talking about. And today, they finally find CIP money to pump in health. Too little, too late. We are not falling for the bluff. And you know, it is only when certain events are approaching, they remember us. Like they had World Cup cricket, they finally fixed the Borsesju Road for World Cup cricket. But guess what? World Cup cricket is over if you see holes that are in the road already. And of course, you know, CIP money being spread around to buy people because the election is coming. So don't be fooled by that. We have a mantra. When you see they're rolling in wealth, money that they took from you, money that they stole from you, and they want to come and give it to you, my advice to you, take it and take them out. Okay? There are two takings you must do. Take the money and take them out. That is what we have to do. You know? Ladies and gentlemen, moving right along, as they say. I would like to call on the next speaker. I would like to call on another young man. And once you're younger than me, you're a young man. I would like to call on Mr. Joshua Harrow, And by the way, I forgot to say that the previous speaker was from Castries North. The next speaker is from Castries South. Sorry, not Castries North again. So what, the young people not following King? But I'm pleased to know that you recognize and identify a snake from among decent people. And so I will ask you to welcome the next speaker. A round of applause for Mr. Harrow, who will address you right now.
My Flambeau. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today not just as a concerned citizen, but as a former educator. One who has seen firsthand the cracks in our education system. The future of our nation depends on the education of our children. Yet under the St. Lucia Labour Party, our education system is failing them on multiple fronts. Let's begin with the curriculum. Our economy is rapidly evolving, driven by technology and the demands of the global marketplace. But our curriculum is stuck. Oh yes. We are preparing our students for a world that no longer exists, while the opportunities of the future fall through their fingertips. Critical thinking, digital literacy, problem solving. These are the skills our children need, but they are sorely lacking in our classrooms. As an educator, I see this gap every day. Our children are learning theories without application, facts without context, and skills that are becoming obsolete. This is not just a missed opportunity. It is a grave disservice to our children, and it is widening the gap between our education system and the economic reality. Now, the problem goes even deeper. In today's world, technology is not only a luxury, but a necessity. Yet our schools are stuck in the dark ages. The lack of digital integration is not just an oversight, it is a failure that has profound consequences. Without access to technology, our students are left unprepared for the digital economy. They are denied the tools that can make learning more engaging, relevant, and effective. This digital divide is holding our children back and limiting their potentials and diminishing their prospects. Now, this leads to the consequence. An underdeveloped education system, one that fails to equip students with the skills they need, leads to brain drain. Oh, we've been facing that problem. Our brightest minds, see no future here, will leave in search of opportunities elsewhere. This exodus of talent weakens our nation, stifles innovation, and perpetuates the cycle of underdevelopment. Moreover, the lack of digital integration and engagement from parents and the community only exacerbate these issues. Education is a partnership, but under this government, that partnership is breaking down. Parents are not being engaged. Communities are not being involved. And the result is a system that is isolated and ineffective. When parents are not involved, when communities are not invested, our children suffer. The St. Lucia Labour Party, come on, the St. Lucia Labour Party government has let our children down. Oh, let me say this again. The St. Lucia Labour Party has what? Let our children down. Let's carry that mantra with us into the election. They have failed to align our education system with the needs of the economy, failed to integrate technology into our classrooms, and failed to engage our parents and communities in the education process. And in doing so, they have failed the nation. Now let me conclude. but we cannot afford to let this continue. We need a government that will close the gap between our curriculum and economic climate. Right. Let me just say this one more time because this hits home for me. But we cannot afford to let this continue. We need a government to close the gap between our curriculum and economic climate that will bring technology into our classrooms and that will engage parents and communities in the education process. We need leaders. Not dictators or autocratic leadership. We need leaders. Oh my goodness, I'm feeling this in my chest. We need leaders who will take real actions, who will invest in our children's future, not with words, but with deeds. The time for change is now. We must demand better for our children. We must fight for an education system that prepares them for the world they will inherit, a world where they can thrive, succeed, and most importantly, lead. Once again, we must take the actions now to create a world where our children can thrive, succeed, and lead. Thank you very much.
So let me parler about Orkagwesi Black. I've been trying to tell you all, but you all are listening to me. Well, hear it for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mr. Harrow once again. That is the kind of united workers' party that we are building. Mr. Chairman, you telling me those say things and you saying things. Ladies and gentlemen, the future of this country is safe if it is in the hands of the United Workers' Party. And I can tell that you are beginning to feel the fire. I warned you, I tell you the energy comes from the youth. But the women are the ones who have the organization and the mobilization skills. In every election, the women are the driving force of a campaign. Now, I don't want to break away from the trend. I will still bring another youth, but this time, a woman. Now, let me just say to you, we are not bringing you the kind of women that we see in the cabinet of the St. Lucia Labour Party. You have a woman who was Minister of Home Affairs. In case you all forget, the Minister of Home Affairs is responsible for the police. You had women like herself making complaints that they were being sexually harassed by the top brass of the police. Up to this day, she has done nothing. The other woman sitting in cabinet has not said a word. Ladies and gentlemen, the Minister of Commerce, or is it Commerce? Emma Hippolyte, or is it Hypocrite? Has sat there and allowed the government of St. Lucia that she's a part of to impose on you 2.5% levy, to impose on you a reduction in the subsidies for flour that caused the price of bread to go up, to continue to overcharge you for gas. So when will she speak up in your favor? Her portfolio being commerce. These are not the kind of people that we want to represent us. These are not the kind of women we want in the United Workers' Party. And by the way, talking about Emma, as always, as usual, she will be discovered, like the Grizzly people found out, what she is not made of. And Soufre will do the right thing. I have already spoken to Herod. Herod among the youth too, he playing like, because he spent a couple days with us, like he's still among the youth. But I am in a position to tell Herod from experience what is going to happen in the next general election. Just like the people of Grosley did, the people of Soufre will find out the difference between real representation and no representation. And I've said to Herod, he represented well. And he deserved to be the rep again. And even though he did not succeed at the last general election, good work never goes unpaid. Good work never goes unnoticed. Herod, take it from me. You will get your back pay. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back on track. I want to call on a young lady to address you. We have had so far only men, except for the lady who led us in prayer. So I'm going to call now, with your assistance, give a warm, hearty welcome to my next speaker, Miss Vilma James, who will speak to you on healthcare.
Good night, everyone. Tonight I'm going to speak about an ongoing problem which has been in St. Lucia for way too long, which is the healthcare system in St. Lucia. A few weeks ago, I visited the Grozile Polyclinic, where I stayed there from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. waiting to see a doctor for a throat infection. And when I finally saw the doctor, it took me less than 5 minutes, and I was already out of there with a prescription. Also, recently, a friend came to me crying because she was traumatized by her experience at the hospital, where she had time pass out before seeing a doctor, and when she finally saw the doctor, it was already life-threatening and had to do surgery. After the surgery, she was told to just toughen up for the stitches because there is no numbing cream. Recently, a prominent politician has publicly denounced the views expressed by the president of the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association regarding the state of healthcare in the country. The politician claimed that the opposition party, the United Workers' Party, would want to encourage her to write the letter criticizing the healthcare system. However, we the youth believe that the politician should not have made such a baseless statement without providing any evidence to support the accusation. Making unfounded claims can undermine the credibility of both the politician and the government, and it detracts from the critical issue at hand, which is the need for improvements in the healthcare. Instead of addressing the concerns raised by the president of the association with facts or solutions, the politician's response could be seen as deflecting the conversation toward the political blame, which does not contribute to a constructive dialogue about improving healthcare for citizens in St. Lucia. Why is it that Owen King European Union Hospital does not have glucometers monitors to monitor blood sugar, and physicians are to bring their own supplies to ensure that the diabetic patients are monitored? Why is it that when critical decisions are to be made, the necessary drugs are unavailable and need to be sourced from a private sector, which is Tapio? Emergency rooms still have dozens of patients admitted but cannot be sent to rooms due to lack of beds. And from my personal experience, I have noticed firsthand that patients are being sent home immediately due to lack of beds, and there are patients being kept on chairs for days waiting for beds. Minister of Health. Why is it that the monies are being spent on new hospital vehicles, but there are lack of drugs, inclusive of Panadol, ibuprofen, and antibiotics? There is lack of equipment, shortages of lab supplies, and also anesthetics. And a hospital without Panadol is like a bar without drinks. There is no reason why one should go to the polyclinic for a prescription at 10 a.m. and leave the premises at 5 p.m. And yes, this has happened to me multiple times. Sitting there for hours because money has already been paid to see the doctor, just to have a doctor write on a piece of paper that I do have permission to get what I need, because paying a private doctor $150 per visit every time I need a prescription would be quite expensive. As much as I know that the polyclinic does not work on a first-come, first-served basis and they operate by the level of emergency, but waiting there for hours for something like that is quite deranged. I have heard multiple youth like myself say the healthcare system is trash. And as a youth myself, I totally agree, because most times I would rather stay sick than go to any healthcare in the north, because it is terrible. And I have friends from the south who are afraid of the stadium, which they call a hospital, due to how bad it is down there. St. Jude's Hospital was destroyed by fire in 2009. Restoration efforts initially began in 2011 under the St. Lucia Labour Party to 2016. Upon assuming office, the United Workers' Party, led by Alan Shastney, assessed the existing structure and began construction of a world-class facility. However, after the Labour Party returned to office in 2021, they did not continue working on the hospital as planned. Instead, they resumed work on the building they had previously started. Now it is being said that the Labour administration intends to use part of the structure built under UWP, despite having previously dismissed it as a glorified parking lot, a statement made by a politician in a misguided attempt to discredit the project. From January to March, $18 million was collected from a 2.5 health levy. Why wasn't the money used to fund OKEU? And why was it the CIP funds used for this? And if we had the levy in the first place, why did it get to a point where the Medical and Dental Association had to come out to speak on it? St. Lucia, this is unacceptable. How can we, the youth, how can we progress as a country with a healthcare system like this? We, the young people, and we, the citizens of St. Lucia, we deserve better.
I have no problems cooling out in the shade. This party is in good hands. The future of this party is bright. And the future of St. Lucia is bright with the Flambeau. Lady, thank you very much. And you know, you were so emphatic, and you know a lot of things too. You're not looking so old. You know about the history of St. Jude's and all of that. If they think they're fooling St. Lucians, they are making a mistake. But mind you, the government is telling you what they think of you. when they can give you a health system that a doctor, not just a doctor, the president of the Medical and Dental Association can describe as the worst that it has ever been, when they can give you a hospital that was built over 80 years ago, not as a hospital, so in the first place it was not built for that purpose, and they deny you of a world, like you put it, a world-class hospital facility. By the way, with helipad on top of it. So if you had for some reason to be airlifted because of emergency to perhaps OKEU or Martinique, you had a helipad right on the roof of that hospital. But guess what? Guess what you didn't know? That is too good for you. So they're going to deny you of that. But such is the nature of the St. Lucia Labour Party. And you know what? They put in people first. The people that they put in first don't need any hospital in St. Lucia. They fly to Martinique at your expense when they fall sick. And if you don't believe me, ask Virginia. But ladies and gentlemen, all these things are for a time. And the wickedness of the St. Lucia Labour Party is rapidly coming to an end. And you know, the young lady who just spoke a while ago, Vilma, mentioned a prominent politician. I just want to make a correction. I've been there longer than you. I know that as you. A notorious politician. Okay, that's who you were talking about, a notorious. All politicians are prominent, but that one is a notorious politician. You know? But you know what? You know what? Politics is very important to that gentleman. Because never mind all the money he has, never mind all the attempt he's making for at getting validation and acceptance, he needs politics to shield him. He needs politics to cover him. But we don't need him, so we are going to get rid of him. Now, before I say too much, let me do what they asked me to do. Let me introduce the next speaker. Okay? Because I am not here to divulge any information. What you want to know, go to the boulevard on the 22nd of September and you will find out. Ladies and gentlemen, another young man of quality that is in our fold. This young man is from the constituency of Castries Central. I remember saying that I'm from the constituency of Grizzly. You all didn't make noise like that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you our next speaker. Please welcome, as he's making his debut on a United Workers' Party platform, Mr. Rush Clark to address you.
You all are going to make me say this. Mama Flambeau. Today I would be addressing some housing concerns. Why is it so difficult for young people to own a home in our own country? I would like to start by sharing with you my most recent incident. I met this cornerstone elder in the community of Wilton's Yard. And I'm not going to sugarcoat this. He was staying in deplorable conditions. And I'm talking deteriorated plywood walls, unstable flooring, doors that couldn't close. And at every corner of his roof, there were several leaks. This gentleman went at several occasions to seek assistance. And still today, his pleas has gone unanswered. The National Housing Assistance Program was designed to solve, aid, and provide that level of assistance to these vulnerable individuals. Persons like this young man staying in these deplorable conditions. But persons like this elder, where does the benefits go? To friends? To families? To associates? And persons like him are left behind to fend for yourself, to stay in the cold. I want to add on, as we focus on residents within the CDC units. They face the same shameful conditions as this young man. These same residents, as of today, were left in a situation not knowing exactly what direction they would be thrown into, what circumstances they would be placed under when they were removed. Let's look at the most recent demolished unit, demolished CDC block. That is right now an existing parking lot. And the other residents that stay in the other CDC units right now are facing several crises. The doors don't lock. Rat infestation, mold. And to add insult to injury, several and numerous amounts of construction defects over the course of time through lack of proper maintenance. Okay. But this is not going to get any better. Not under this administration. Not under this administration. Imagine in 2024, a woman is finding herself in a situation where she has to solely rely on public washrooms. Right now, in the Rose Hill community, several residents are finding themselves utilizing these public facilities without proper lighting and not even street lights. Here's the thing, this is terrifying, and this is a disaster waiting to happen. And this is a reality for many communities. No security, no safety in the heart of the city. You all didn't hear me. I need to say this again. No security, no safety in the heart of the city. How is it that countries such as Barbados and Trinidad have programs like Housing Every Last Person Help and the Housing Development Council, or should I say corporation, which caters to deliver numerous housing units to their citizens, and we are struggling with at least supplying the basic needs for some of the persons that are in these vulnerable conditions. Food for thought. Food for thought. Just so you know, St. Lucia covers 617 square kilometers of land coverage. Waters to join in on the walk. To protect a victory. Instead of rather protecting the citizens in this country, our focus should be on improving the standard of living to everyone, especially to those who are struggling the most. In fact, march for better housing. March for a safer community and a future that every young person can have a chance to own a home. That's what we should be doing. Thank you very much. All right.
What you say? Did I just hear the Minister of Housing? Well, just when you think there was no hope. Because when I look at what obtains today for a Minister of Housing, the embarrassment we have, the loudmouth intimidator, the man who lacks any class, he is the one they call the Minister of Housing. So, if you permit me, you sounded like a real Minister of Housing. I am not the leader of the party, not me that forming cabinet. But, ladies and gentlemen, the quality that exists in the United Workers' Party is what we put in on display to you. Now, you see, that's the problem with UWP, you know. We have too many secrets about the good things that reside with us. It is about time we start highlighting the qualities of the United Workers' Party. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are listening via live stream, we brought you a special edition of Flambeau Live tonight. And indeed, it is special. A round of applause to our young people. The way you all behaving is like you all have not enough. I gave you all so many young people already. It is time that we move up the ladder. Okay, all right. We're giving the people what they want. Ladies and gentlemen, I am repeating, the youth will be the energy of this upcoming campaign. Can you feel the energy? And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving you more energy. I would like to present another youngster who will be making his debut on a United Workers' Party platform. You see, you all have it so good. You all are blessed to have, for the first time, those people making their country. So you can say, in the future, when these gentlemen become great politicians, and ladies, I'm not forgetting the ladies, and ladies become great politicians, great leaders in this country, you can join me in saying, I remember when they just started. Before I leave today, I will make sure I get an autograph from every one of them, because I do not know, in their busy schedule down the road, if I'll be able to meet them for me to get an autograph. But ladies and gentlemen, I can tell that you are impressed. And I can also tell that Labour is depressed. And I say, look out. Ladies and gentlemen, I say we, though I wasn't part of it, made a gigantic mistake in the last general election. People fell for bluff. People fell for empty promises. People fell for glan-glan. This election, none of that. We just had a term in office between 2016 and 2021 under Alan Chasney. We now have 3 years already under the SLP with Philip Pierre. So Alan Chasney, nor Philip Pierre, don't come and make me promises. Don't come and give me any glan-glan. Don't come and give me any bluff. Tell me, what did you do when you had the opportunity? I can tell you what Alan Chasney did. He didn't do anything. With his bubble you're talking about, he didn't do anything. But when you look at the work of the United Workers' Party under Alan Chasney, St. Lucia deserves another term. And I remember having that mantra in my campaign in 2016, that one good term deserves another. And we are going to give Alan Chasney and the United Workers' Party another term. And so, I heard, I think it was the chairman who said, when you give a government an opportunity, you have to give them more than 5 years. There's a correction I have to make. If they are working in your interest. But when you give a government an opportunity that is working against you, you have to cut short the 5 years. And we have to ensure that we get this St. Lucia Labour Party out of office before 5 years. But you know, these guys are like, you know, I listen to them sometimes and I'm amazed at the lies and the bluff. You know one of the lies they're perpetuating now? That Alan Shastney spent 6 years in office. From 2016 to 2021. Then again, we have come to understand the kind of maths that Philippia does. Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, when the right maths is done and we start to count the votes, then he will understand what the numbers are. And so, we are going to take the seats that they have. We're going to take back our seats. And we are going to ensure that we have a resounding success at the next poll. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to help me welcome a gentleman as he makes his debut on the United Pro-Workers Party platform. This gentleman hails from the constituency of Miku North. What happened? What happened? Wait, you all know something I don't know? Hot kunat na ba? Ma kunat? It's all right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my pleasure to bring to you our next speaker. Please help me welcome Mr. Samuel Norbert.
I will start by saying thank you very much for the warm welcome. And I heard someone saying we're taking Mikud back. We're taking Mikud back. And for the SLP supporters in Mikud North, I want you all to know the boat is sinking, and not on water, but in quicksand. So while the Flambeau boat is still nearby, jump on board, because the time you will jump in the quicksand with SLP. Tonight I will be speaking on agriculture. This is something I hold very dear to my heart. And the agricultural sector has built St. Lucia to what it is today. And UWP believes that agriculture is crucial, and it's a fundamental instrument in the quest for St. Lucia to bring back development. It also reduces unemployment, reduces poverty, and it generates income. And this is why we can see that St. Lucia right now is in hell on earth as a result of the neglect by the SLP administration. Agriculture has contributed to the development of St. Lucia quite significantly. Back in the days when bananas were deemed to be green gold, St. Lucia infrastructure was heavily done by that sector. Farmers were able to build their homes, send their kids to school without the need to take mortgages. But in order to bring those days back, we need to understand that the government needs to assist and support the sector 100% with long-term planning and vision. For example, building a jetty for the fishermen is great, and I will applaud that move. However, installing of ice machines would have ensured that our fishermen are able to preserve this catch after a long day on the sea. This will reduce the heartache of our fishermen trying to locate ice in the event they call hotels, and the hotels are filled. There would be no need for them to go out and sell their catch on the price, or in other words, go low, as they call it. So something as simple as ice machines can make a tremendous difference in the lives of our fishermen. Now, speaking from experience, I must say, when you help genuinely, you will know how to help. And when you help just to save your seat, you will still help, and you will do it the wrong way. Something as simple as satellite phones can save the lives of so many of our fishermen we have lost at sea. And I believe that you cannot put a price on someone's life. So no matter how expensive it is, the government should do whatever it takes to get a fisherman at least a satellite phone. Because when a fisherman leaves his family at 5 in the morning and go out there at sea, not knowing how they will get back in times of distress, a simple satellite phone can save the lives of all our fishermen who have been lost at sea. I also believe in that subsidizing some fishing material can benefit our fishermen tremendously. For example, the wire that they use to make fish pots will be of great assistance for them. Agriculture right now has been neglected to the core. We see the lack of support in the banana industry. The industry which has helped build St. Lucia, and the government, I think today, really owe the banana farmers the support that they deserve. The government has provided over 100 workers, and they have been deployed to assist the agricultural sector, which I will applaud. But this too has preferential treatment. Our banana farmers haven't received not one worker. And there are certain workers who are labor supporters who have in excess of 6 workers working daily on their farms. Now I will say it again, speaking from experience, if you don't know how to help and you do it just to save your seat, you will do it the wrong way. For example, I've seen so many farmers where a husband and a wife looks after 5 acres of bananas and plantains. And on harvesting days, it's impossible for them to harvest the entire field. Just giving those farmers 5 workers 1 day in the week on harvesting days would be of tremendous help to those farmers. The neglect with the banana farmers continue. And I was waiting for a day like today so I can talk about this. The boxes crisis. I hold this one to my heart, to be honest, because I felt it. We had a few farmers left in the banana industry, but the boxes crisis literally wiped out more than half of our farmers. And even when they compensated the farmers, it was done wrong. And I said, when you help just to win your seat, you will still do it wrong because you don't do it genuinely. Now, it took the government over 5 weeks to order boxes. And when the boxes did come, they were the wrong boxes. Now, this makes me think and understand why there is a lack of ibuprofen and Panadol at the hospitals. And when incompetence is at this level in our government, it forces introverts like myself to come out and speak. In other words, Moun ki pa yeme Mike ni pou vin nou vin pale. Là yo wè gouvernement ka fè bêtise apè ya. Lack of markets has caused our farmers to compete to sell their products, resulting in our products decreasing in value. This decrease in prices causes our farmers to operate at a loss, making the sector look less attractive, especially to our youth. I want to touch on the home ports that our political leader in opposition, Honorable Alan Shasney, when he had the vision for home ports. And I want our farmers to understand how beneficial the home ports for our cruise ships in Viewfort would have assisted us. I want our fishermen to understand that if the current administration went ahead and create those home ports for the cruise ships in Viewfort, there would be no need for Golo. This would have opened up a new niche for our agricultural sector in St. Lucia, which is unimaginable. Yes. And when you have a government who says that they're putting the people first, and you sacrifice a deal like our home ports with the cruise ships for the GPH deal, I really want our farmers to understand this because I never understood it. So I want our farmers to understand that our current government chose the GPH deal over our home ports for the cruise ships. And the funny thing about the GPH deal is that our government chose to rent our ports in Castries for in excess of 30 years. And scientifically speaking, the life expectancy of human beings is about 8 years. So whoever made those deals will be dead and gone, and they knew that. So that means they never thought about our future. They know that they would be dead, so they just took those deals. And it makes me ask myself, what was in it for them? Whether or not these same ministers got a cut and probably has an apartment in Dubai or even Mayfair in London. Another point I want to touch up on is our Latanier broom. That when we sell our products under value, we need to understand that those industries might die out because our youth will not feel the need to venture into them. And something as simple and unique as a Latanier broom, which is handcrafted, and the level of work it takes to make one broom, and the price is $12.50 to $15, I think this is undervalued. And this is why our young people might not even consider going into the broom industry. So I want our farmers to understand we need to know the value of our agricultural products in order to make the business survive. I want to end by saying farmers became heroes during COVID-19 under UWP. And if COVID were to come again, or World War III were to happen, God forbid, it would be such a heartbreak to know that we would be starving in St. Lucia. And this is due to the fact that only a handful of farmers are left to harness our natural resource, which is our fertile soils. I want to also end by saying there is still hope for our farmers. And there is still hope for agriculture.
And I want to end our youth segment by saying there is hope for St. Lucia. You know, I sat there, ladies and gentlemen, and I listened to these young people, and they had me riveted. They had me in awe. I even learned a lot. You know, that is substance, that is quality, and that is the United Workers' Party. Now, before we go any further, anything I said, do not hold it against me. I am not the political leader. I am not a part of any candidate selection panel. I am just saying I see quality coming from the ranks of the United Workers' Party. And forgive me if I say I saw a minister of education, I saw a minister of health, I saw a minister of housing, I saw a minister of agriculture, I saw a cabinet. Ladies and gentlemen, there is quality in the United Workers' Party. But, you know, before we feel too left out, I think I'll call one or two old heads. But before I do that, I want to express a special thanks to the president of the United Workers' Party Youth Arm. And I know that these people you heard speak there, these young people that you heard speak there, are part of the United Workers' Party Youth Arm, and he works with them, they work with him. We have a good thing going. Let's keep it going. Congratulations to you, the youth of the United Workers' Party. And before I forget, let me say it publicly, I am absolutely proud of you. I cannot wait to hear what our leader has to say about you at our caucus meeting tomorrow. And I see the chairman there nodding his head. You know, you are the future of this country. Now, before the older folk say that I've abandoned them and joined the youth, like I said, I'm a former youth, but somebody told me a while ago I'm a senior citizen. So, you know what? So as not to cause any confusion, I'll stay in the middle. Okay? So now, let me bridge the gap and bring the more experience to bear. But you know, before I do that, let me just say that the lies, because the last speaker mentioned some of it, previous speakers did. You know, the GPH issue. You know, when Mr. Norbert, and I'm talking about the right Norbert, the whole Norbert, the right Norbert, the right guy. When he said that they give priority to GPH over our home port for cruise ships, you know, that struck me. And more I'm beginning to understand what they mean by putting people first, because they are demonstrating to you who are the people that they are putting first. Because, you know, I never even made the connection with agriculture. I was talking about the taxi drivers, the extra money we're making on our airport because people have to fly to St. Lucia to catch the boat. I'm thinking of the restaurants, the hotels, because probably they might have to overnight when they come here to catch the boat. When they come back, they have to overnight before they catch their flight. I was thinking of all of that. I never even recognized the connection that there could be with agriculture, particularly agriculture and fisheries in particular. But you know, we have people with vision. And that is why we are able to come up with those plans and ideas that will make St. Lucian's life better. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I need to strike a better balance in terms of gender. So now it's time to bring another lady. What was it more on getting your agenda? Ladies and gentlemen, this is she's still a young lady, and whether she want to accept it or not, the bougen passe moins ou young, because si moins young, e bougen passe moins uni young. So I will introduce a young lady who has been with us for some time now, has done battle for us in one of the constituencies in the south, and has held several positions in the party, including being a deputy chairperson of the party. Ladies and gentlemen, she is also one of our advocates in this party who is out there on a talk show putting the message out and setting the story straight and bringing the truth to you. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the dynamic, vivacious, and vibrant Nancy Charles, who is our mobilization officer, to address you.
Because I could not understand how in July of last year, we came to this very same parliament and we debated an additional tax, a tax that everyone told the government was a bad move. The Chamber of Commerce spoke against it. The Accountants Association spoke against it. The business people spoke against it. Everyone told the government that this was not the time to implement such a tax. And we couldn't understand why the Prime Minister was not listening to what everybody was telling him. But today, we understand why. We know today. Madam President, you know what is called absolution? My Catholic friend used the Lenten season a while ago. Well, we're in the Lenten season. I will tell you. You see, this government, you only put absolution. This whole Lenten season, my recommendation is that you have to go and fast and pray. This entire Lenten season for forgiveness from the public of St. Lucia. And I'm not even sure if that will help you.
Bonsoir, Maman Flambeau. Bonsoir, Maman Sainte-Lucie. Ek bonsoir pour ces gens qui écoutent nous les live là, ça quand pour faire petit tac là de ba yo. Bonsoir tout gens l'autre pays. You know, tonight there's a song that says I'm a damn proud Lucian. Y'all know that song? Yeah, tonight I stand here as a damn proud Lucian for two reasons. One, and Spider, you owe me an apology because I had to go to the hairdressers to get the hair dyed so I can look young. So you need to call me the young lady because I'm still young. But by virtue of the fact that I sat there and I listened to these young men and these young women, and I said to myself, oh my God, I am so proud. I felt like they were my children. So ladies and gentlemen, come on, give them another hand of applause. Very, very, very proud of them. They are articulate. We didn't have to write, nobody had to write their speech for them. They knew exactly what it is they wanted to say because they are au courant with the issues that is affecting you, myself, themselves, their families, and everybody in St. Lucia. They can see and they can feel. So I'm very proud of them. But the second reason I am proud is because today, I think St. Lucians sent a very, very strong message to the St. Lucia Labour Party. Uwe much of shame sayote ni jodia. St. Lucian said to them, let me tell you something. We are not for sale. And so the turnout they were expecting, loga de porte where you first say muna try vini comble to partout, pour you pon drone shot pour you dilate mizi moon. But I can certainly tell you the number of persons that I know who are Labour Party, my friends who are Labour Party, who tell me when même si ma fait pas picheur comme moi, ma buy ça, ma buy machi ça. I can say to you, St. Lucia, we are ready. Philippe J. Pierre, call the elections now. St. Lucia is ready. Okay? Tonight, I just want to refresh your memory on just a few things. You know, we have a tendency de la nou ka oubliye to vite. Bo de le yo ba vini. Nou ka oubliye se les autres bagay la. So, oswe I'm just vle refreshi l'ide ou. Because la no ba nou toujou ka di. Si pa ni soutouez, si pa ni soutouez, ebe oswe anay do ki les ki soutouez la. Because ça qui fait là, c'est soutouez la toujours ka weste pa de. Yo kan di dan, yo kan se wan, e kou ka we vole a tout partout do ka vole. Ebe oswe nou ka y pala about ki les ki soutouez Saint Lucie. All right? I am here to tell you that a lot of things is happening in our society. The crimes you see being perpetrated, all the different things that are happening. These things are happening because of soutouez. Do you agree with me? Yes. Okay. So do you also agree that a lot of what is happening, if not all of what is happening in this St. Lucia Labour Party government is because of soutouez as well? Do you agree with me? Solana soutouez. Okay. I think a lot of St. Lucians see our current Prime Minister because he portrays himself, you know, to be that good boy, that good man. I'm not involved, not me. You didn't see my name, it's not me. I didn't call names, etc., etc. Vous comprenez? So, il a fait, ça c'est tout ici, tout est là qu'a fait. Mais ça, il a fait. Pas moi, c'est ish moi, c'est maman là, ou ka lever maman là mania yo vle, mais maman là ka prechi mais yo, mais c'est yo qui sous tout là ou ça. Les maman là mene bay voler en kay là yo pas j'ai dit pas mene yo, so qui est-ce qui sous tout là? Okay, naidu waswear. I am here to tell you that Philip Joseph qui middle name li comment? Ko spider pas là. Philip Joseph Pierre, moi dit right now J stands for Joseph. Philip Joseph Pierre. Est-ce qu'on y est là? Ou est la ni d'autres maman qui ka mort? Et le yo interview se maman yo ka hele he was a good boy. Philip J Pierre qui maman là. He was a good boy. C'est ça il a dit. He was a good boy. So liki sutu wes là all the time. Now why do I say that? Because all what that is happening within our CIP right now is as a result of the soutouez of Philip Joseph Pierre. All of it. And I'll remind you. All right? Y'all remember when that issue first came about? And the EU, that was in 2023, early 2023, late 22-23, the EU had sent out a list of 13 recommendations that they had made to countries within the OECS to make changes within the CIP. When that came out, Philip Joseph Pierre, il n'est pas parlé, m'a changé, il est parlé. Philip Joseph Pierre, qui était Premier Minister at the time, he was the one who came out and said that there was no need for them to implement these type of recommendations. And so while St. Kitts and Nevis, if you remember, immediately went ahead and implemented the recommendations, Pierre, tet kafe, tet wed, ikafe de. He didn't want to implement any of the recommendations. And I'll tell you where I'm going. Okay? Then we were warned about the revocation of our visa-free access to these European and Schengen countries. Y'all remember that? Kisaidi, that cannot happen. Why? He has to go to the EU. You remember they summoned him to a meeting, right? He will negotiate with the EU. Ki moun ouye po ay negotiate with EU. You cannot negotiate with the people in your own cabinet. You want to go to the EU and go and negotiate. So he'll go and negotiate with the EU. You all remember that? What happened? Didn't Dominica lose their visa-free access? And didn't we, the United Workers' Party, warned him that if he did not implement the recommendations, what would happen? Okay. So, the OECS countries came together And they made an agreement where they will implement certain changes within the CIP to protect them. Again, y'all remember that MOA? What did Philip JPS say? Philip JPS said, he will not, he's in agreement with it, but he cannot implement it now because they make their money already. And it is now his turn for him to make his money. Y'all remember that? So who was making the money all that time? Philippe J. I'll tell you that he wasn't lying. Because he knew exactly. You see, all what we see that's happening now, 6,000 passports, 7,000 passports, the man was telling you all the truth. It was his turn for him and his people in St. Lucia to make their money. So il d'accord, Skerrit a fait l'argent, Gaston Brown a fait l'argent, tout Harris a fait l'argent. C'est là pour Philippe J. Pierre faire l'argent. That's his turn to make his money. And let me tell you something. Every time they speak about a scandal, you know what they tell you? Follow what? Follow the money. Follow the money. We're going to follow the money tonight. We're going to follow the money. So, Philip JPS said he's not signing. He refused to agree to sign the MOA. And he refused to bring back the price of our passports, the donation, to the 200,000. He wanted to keep it at the 100,000. And what did he say to us? He had contractual agreements. Y'all remember that? What is on It didn't contract way. It didn't 6,000 contract. It didn't a lot 7,000 contract kavini. Nobody connaît zafei, mais nobody ka coûter. You remember, so now we know the contract was for an additional 5,300 passports to Galaxy under the investment program and a further 7,000 passports for a so-called infrastructure program. Now, I am saying that because up to a day like today, Philip J. Pierre, nor Ernest Hille, nor anybody within the cabinet of the St. Lucia Labour Party has denied. They have never denied that allegation that Martinez made that it is 6,000 allocated for the investment and 7. They've never denied it. Never. Okay? So if you listen to them very carefully, they skirt around, but they have never denied it. So I can tell you that this is a truth. All right? Who is going to be benefiting from the infrastructure program? Is it you? Is it me? It's only for the benefit of Galaxy. And here, who else? The lawyers here who are friends of this one who know who. You know how they are. Makokot. Yo tout ma wek yo na tell some. Zokonet yo. Ma ilome no yo baizo. Me zokonet yo. Zoka yo. Friends of the friends. That's who is benefiting. So all this, because people keep asking me. They say to me, but Nancy, what is all this about? What is the benefit to, and I want you to listen carefully, you know, because people will ask you that. You can do buy CIP, sir, so what? So Galaxy fella, so key benefits, I'm saying, Munanya, sir, you can PS benefits of that. Not true. Not true. And let me explain to you. This government has allowed Galaxy to collect $800 million US extra on a hotel that has not been built, but they have collected that money on your head. UWP gave Galaxy 700 passports to sell when the project came. They came under us. We gave them 700. Le Labour Party Labour Party increased it by 5,300 to make it 6,000. From 700, they don't add another 7 or another 1,000, you know. They add 5,300. And I want you to remember that and ask yourself why they give them so much. Why would you give Galaxy $1.2 billion for a hotel that only costs $400 million and they get to keep $800 million for themselves? Why? And if that was not enough, you introduce a scam called an infrastructure program. I call it a scam because up to a day like today, nobody in St. Lucia knows or understands how that infrastructure program works. So c'est l'argent, l'argent, l'argent. All that time, Philip J. Pierre has been talking and he has been defending. So let me tell you something. Dis-moi qui ça qui en tête nous. Ou bay Galaxy, autant l'argent pour y faire un hotel. You all saw the pictures of the hotel? You all saw that the hotel is not even 50% complete? Un bagay an di, ok, an pale. Ou bay un moun fon kay ba ou. Ou un baklan pour un loan. Ou bay dernier l'argent pour faire kay la. Moun an pou quand même fin faire half kay la. Ou ka vie balian lot l'argent pour y faire l'autre project qui ka cost pli l'argent toujours. So ou ka bali l'argent pour y faire concrete chimé pour monter en kay la. Il peut même fin fait là. Who in their right mind does that? Ask yourself that question. Who in their right mind does that? And here's the reason. Here's the reason. Because every single passport that Galaxy sells, there is something called a processing fee. You understand that? There is something called a processing fee that the lawyer who's representing Galaxy, and we know who that lawyer is, right? The friend of the friend of the friend. Okay, all the Reds people international together, that's the lawyer. And he's the lawyer for Galaxy. So I want you to imagine processing 6,000 plus 7,000. You know how much that is? That is, you're good at maths, eh? That's 13,000 passports. Now I want you to also imagine 13,000 passports, and the processing fee for each passport is approximately $20,000. Am I correct? That's what you get on the website. So 13,000 passport by $20,000. Now, if it's 2 passport, sorry, 3,000 US, okay? And so I want you to imagine 13,000 passport by 3,000 US dollars processing fee per passport. Pull out your calculator and tell me how many millions of dollars that this particular lawyer has been collecting, and now you will understand why they give Galaxy 6,007. So you can have a dernier Saint Lucie, you can mele, you can buy chien, you can buy chat, you can buy what, you can buy money coup, you can buy tout ça qui vle passport, 20 points, because they want to collect $3,000 processing fee so that they can put in their bank account on your head. That is what this is about. That is why they are turning a blind eye to Galaxy on this. Now, if Galaxy has to sell the passport at the right price, il pa ka ivan autant. So you can kite ivan in n'importe prix, any price. It goes for $1 if you want, because they will collect their processing fee. You see, comment ces moun sa méchant avec mauvaise paye pour l'argent? Let me tell you something. When we did the calculation as to how much money Galaxy, because they're getting their processing fee, so Galaxy can collect its money. We've told you that there's $1.4 billion. That's US, by the way, not EC. $1.4 billion that is missing. That is money Galaxy has collected on your head, on you, And you, so lower si da di da kayo. E bon marché di san chimek di mamele psa galaxy sa pa ni rien pour faire que moi kaya travail mamele psa. I want you to understand that if we were to collect that money and you divide it by the population of St. Lucia of 180,000 people, do you know that at least every single St. Lucian would have been able to have $20,000 allocated to them? So pateta muni raffle shit boshi me akado. I need to have a surgery and my daughter have to go to hospital and I trying to raise funds. That $20,000 could have been allocated to their health insurance at OKEU and at St. Jude's. These people, you see that there's some people that come and tell you they need help with buying books and back to school supply. That $20,000 could send their children back to school. That $20,000 could have given you grocery vouchers for the poor. Let me tell you something. The people who are on the paupers list, who have said when they $300 c'est moun sa ka hen pa moi. Qui ça $300 ça fait ba yon moun pour yon mois? Can you imagine? So $20,000 would go a long, long way in helping these people who are on the paupers list, because we keep saying we don't have sufficient money. $20,000 could have gone a long, long way. So I want you to understand that when Ernest come on your TV and tell you that this is not your money, but the money belongs to Galaxy, tell Ernest I say, Mashi, you talking there. That's nonsense. That's our money, and we want our money. These people are siphoning your money so they can go to Dubai. They can buy a second brand new car. They can go to basketball games and Olympic games. And what about you? You know they're posting the pictures of them doing all these things on their status and on WhatsApp and on Facebook. They're putting it in your face. All right? You can do mi Samuel Cafe l'argent. And you want to sit there and say and do nothing? And tell me something. What about you now? Before, when you went to the supermarket with $100, you would have come out with about 3 grocery bags. Today, when you go to the supermarket with $100, uba même sorti avec un grocery bag play. Half. They buy, il y a $100. But let me tell you something. They're not coming out with grocery bags, my girl. They're coming out with trolleys. While you coming out with a little nylon bag you coming out with. They're coming out with trolleys at your expense. You cannot stay quiet. Tell Ernest, we want our money. When they go to the petrol station, they're just opening their tank. You know what they're saying? Full tank. Full tank. And you now have to look in your wallet to see how much money you have. E kachile kisa ukai gene me, kisa ukai ge apwe de me, e kukai me $20 ebe $40 gas a machine. Pi $100 undi la upaha me full tank, upaha me a whole $100. But they put in full tank. All right? And now some of them, you are like diety. You come here, whole grains bread, la you way your supermarket la. Whole wheat, whole grains, ek tout buy ko, c'est ça you come here. But you know what? You used to get 4 bread for $1. How many bread you getting for $1 now? Okay, ek you pa memba ulo money ale $1. Lo ba yo $1, you pa memba ulo money. But they can eat whole grains and whole wheats, and they're on nice diet and fancy diet. And you want to sit there and you want to keep quiet? And they can travel all over the world. All right? And you know where you can see these countries? On TikTok, you can see it. You can even go there. And you want to sit down and you want to say nothing. And their wives and their jabals, you know, they travel to Paris and London and they buy Louis Vuitton and they buy Ralph Lauren. And what you buying? Shein. Sometimes you can even buy 2 little things on Shein. You buying it one by one. And you want to sit down and keep quiet. You cannot keep quiet, St. Lucia. You cannot keep quiet. So I want you to understand, while all this is happening, Philip Joseph Pierre knew about it all along. And you know why I tell you that? Because he has lied to us about this from day one. And you know what? All of a sudden, if he didn't know about it, he would never go behind our back and try to engage Martinez. What will it take to make this go away? All right? If he was not complicit in it, he would not go behind our back to try to negotiate with Martinez. So mwe do kosa, si pani sutuez, pani vole. And so, all of a sudden, the man is now pissing in our eye and calling it rain. So, all of a sudden, CIP money can be used. Huh? You all realize that? Do you know how much money of CIP was used on our behalf in 2021? How much? Nothing. Do you know how much money of CIP was used for us in 2022? Nothing. Do you know how much CIP money was used for us in 2023? Nothing. But today, I say thank you to Mr. Martinez, who unfolded the bubble. All of a sudden, PJP want to use CIP money for all kinds of projects. So, si bol pate ale, si moun pate commencer wè zoka servi l'argent CIP ek zoka jwen l'argent, personne pate kay hen la en CIP. All of a sudden, you can find $10 million for OKEU and $240,000 for, what's his name, Prince Kailash. All of a sudden, but let me tell you something as I close. You see this? I have here, and we've said that over and over again. We have started, when we came into office, we started using CIP money for you from day one. We didn't wait for year 1, year 2, year 3, and into our 4th year, because they are in their 4th year. We didn't wait for the 4th year for us to start using CIP money for you. In year 1, we used, this was our 1st year when we came into office, we used $24 million of CIP money for you. You know what we did with it? We did land acquisition. We pay people. Se muna gouvernement ka vini ka pointe yo, e kome lande gouvernement pati ka pay yo. We paid almost $6 million to people for land acquisition with your CIP money. And when they left OKEU and they closed it, they did a naming ceremony. And we wanted to open it and commission it. We used another $9 million to try and commission and fix the problems they left for us at OKEU with your CIP money. That is what we did in year 1 with your CIP money. In year 2, we spent another $43 million of your CIP money. You know what we did with it? The nice program that they were talking about in order to be able to keep the caregivers. We spent $4 million to keep the caregivers program with your CIP money. The Babono Fire Station. Y'all remember the Babono Fire Station? Kileski ouvert Babono Fire Station. We used $1.9 million of your CIP money to open and commission the Babono Fire Station. So, le you can do, you pass off, qui ça fait CIP l'argent nous? Where the CIP money? Tell them all these facts I'm giving you and remind them that we know how our CIP money was being used from day one. In 2018-2019, we used $67 million of your CIP money for projects for you. You see the thing, the birth certificate, the vital records, that's what they call it now. You can go online and apply for your birth certificate and do all these things. Are you aware that this started under a United Workers' Party government? And we spent $4 million to start that project with your CIP money for the National Vital Records. We bought communications equipment, radio and for the police and the fire department, we spent over $2.6 million of your CIP money for that aspect for the police and the fire station. And even for the St. Jude's reconstruction project, we spent over $3 million and $7 million for tourism marketing in St. Lucia. That is how we use your CIP money. So let me tell you something. Le Philippe J. Pierre kay vini, e ki ka commencé hele deti kwaz dlo ka sorti an coin jye. Ma have si se siton ebe vik si sam se vik si ka fote an la pour faire bay la faire kodi ka hele. Tell him we say too little, too late. Year 1 you spend nothing. Year 2 you spend nothing. Year 3 you spend nothing. Today, because Martinez uncover your bubble and St. Lucians are demanding their money, you can try much and banu CIP money. We don't want it. Keep it. Call the elections now. Thank you and good night.
Thank you very much, Nancy. You heard it, ladies and gentlemen, the facts of the scandals. We have a government of secrets, lies, and propaganda, and a government that specializes in scandals. SLP, Gouvernement Scandal. Now, Nancy spoke on the CIP program. I listened to Nancy. Toute la from CIP. But let me tell you what I know. You know, it's just about 800 passports we sold in 5 years. That's right. And having spent all that money and all of those things, Nancy detailed, about 800 passports in 5 years. But you know what you don't know? They have allocated over 13,000 passports in 3 years. And we have not seen that money. Like Nancy said, Martinez called the bubble. They come in with 15 million for St. Jude's, money to go towards their mobilization for the funeral that they had today, and all of those things. But let me just say, we know that with 800 passports, okay, during our 5 years, we were supposed to have gotten hotel and all of that. With 13,000 passports, up to now, we don't know what we're getting. What we know is that that should amount to over 1 billion US dollars, which is over 3 billion EC dollars, that they will have to account for. But you know, talking about the St. Lucia Labour Party being true to form, it is scandal after scandal. Once you took the time to detail to you some of the facts of the CIP scandal, and you're beginning to think that's the only scandal. Let's not forget, there's the GPH scandal where they gave away our 2 ports in Soufrière and Castries for 30 years with a possibility of it being kept by GPH for 40 years, and an agreement not to, as you heard from Sammy, not to develop the home port in Vieux-Fort. There is a scandal with NH where they said they're going to build a halls of justice. NH said it's going to cost $143 million, but we know we have to pay back over $200 million. There is also the Bananlands scandal, where Richard Frederick caused waterfront property to be sold below market price, and then lied to us that lie came from Stevenson King, telling us that it is because SLASPA was not interested, and we know for a fact that is a lie. What other scandals are there? National Lottery. They borrowed $80 million, they say, for World Cup cricket, and up to now we can't see where that $80 million went to. They cannot even tell us who is the contractor. You know, it is scandal after scandal after scandal. By the way, breaking news. Tomorrow, you will hear they're arresting somebody who's supposed to be commissioner of police. What did I just say there? What I wanted to say is the commissioner of police will arrest somebody. Isn't that how it happens? Commissioner of police will... Okay. Stay tuned. Stay tuned and wait for it. But let me just inform you, because they can call my family's name in their politics, so I can say what I'm about to say. Let me just inform you that the MacLeod Emmanuel is associated with the Prime Minister, Philippe J. Pierre. Find out what the association is. That the Ronald Phillip, who was supposed to be the commissioner of police, is associated with Philip J.P. Find out what the association is. Find out what the association is. Okay? And let me just say this. All the cover-up and all the scandals that is happening, Philip J.P. is associated with them. And that is a fact. Let me just say, Nancy, thanks for your presentation. And I want through you to thank the women, and you are one of them, of the United Workers' Party who kept the complaints of our police women alive. When no woman in the government sitting in the cabinet had the courage to speak on it. And I want to say to you, in case you all believe when you will take up the fight on behalf of other women that it goes for nothing, listen tomorrow. If you think it will pass as nothing, listen tomorrow. Because it is not a question of who is in St. Lucia dealing with it. The regional security forces are dealing with that matter. So you will hear of charges, you will hear of arrests. Okay? Okay? But that's what a PRO does. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a government who has presided over scandal after scandal while they have reduced your standard of living to what it is today, where you have the worst healthcare, you have the worst crime situation, you have the highest cost of living, you have the worst infrastructure. Everything that is supposed to be up in this country is down. And everything that is supposed to be down in the country is up. If you don't believe me, crime is up. Cost of living, up. What else? Your quality of life is down. So you can check for yourself because you are experiencing it. I don't have to tell you. But we're going to reverse all of this by bringing a government that has been tried, tested, and proven that we're up to the challenge, we're up to the task. And if you think we were good, we have become better. I just gave you a sample. I take credit for that. I just gave you a sample earlier on of what there is in stock in the arsenal of the United Workers' Party. And if they're scared, they have reason to be. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I told you, the political leader normally closes the show, but he is off island. He is on business, dealing with one of the SLP scandals. When you come back, you will hear even more. So, in his absence, I have heard that a deputy is essential. And so, ladies and gentlemen, before I introduce this deputy to you, let me just say that you heard some of the people from our fold, and I cannot tell you who it is. It is for you to decipher for yourself. If you listen carefully, you might get a hint. Some of those people are among the prospective candidates for the United Workers' Party. Now, I am going to call on someone who has been a candidate, who has been a representative, who has been a minister, and he has distinguished himself in every category. I want to say to the constituency of Ancillary Canries, you made a mistake, but you can always correct your mistake. You saw the difference. You went for the bluff. Like I say, they promise you better. Everybody wants better. So you went for better, but you got worse. The representation you got from this gentleman was phenomenal. The best that you have ever gotten. And so, we want to bring that back to you as you re-embrace this gentleman to return him as your next parliamentary representative. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call to the podium the deputy political leader of the United Workers' Party and the next parliamentary representative for the constituency of Ancillary Canries, the dynamic Dominic Fede, who will address you and close the show tonight.
The Workers' Party will continue to ask for answers. We will continue to ask the hard questions pertaining to the running of this country. So whether it be on the national lotteries, whether it be on crime fighting, whether it be on the management of the healthcare situation in the country, and whether it be on the CIP program, we have one question: where is the money? And Mama Flambeau, we will not stop asking that question until we find our money, until they account for our money. We remain focused and resolute, because the money does not belong to them, it belongs to you, the people of St. Lucia.
Mama Flambeau! Well, can you see the energy in the room tonight? You know, I was outside and you guys were making so much noise. And I swear that you had 5,000 people here tonight. Nancy did ask the question tonight, where is our money? And so I'm not going down that road, because tonight I want to play a different role. I want to take some time and to speak to the young people that have stayed back. I heard today that you guys had a really lit session. I heard that you guys, the youth link up was outside. I hope that lingo. So I feel very deep inside that something exciting is happening within the United Workers' Party right now. I looked at the Facebook coverage of the march of our political opponents, and I look at the wealth of talent that was represented at the platform here tonight. And it is clear to me that the momentum is clearly on the side of the United Workers' Party. Mama Flambeau, I am so proud to be part of an organization that has looked to the future. I must commend our national executive. I must commend our hardworking General Secretary for the great job that they have done here today. I must commend our youth president. I must commend our young people for organizing themselves. They say that when young people come together, that the most ordinary people can do the most extraordinary things. And so to you, the youth, it may just seem like you came for a meeting. But I want to tonight stress on the significance of the link up that you had tonight. You see, the reason why I'm proud that we are staring the future with all of its problems in its face is because the United Workers' Party, as the chairman told us, has always been the party in St. Lucia that has looked to the future. When St. Lucia had a housing crisis, it was the United Workers' Party that built Ridley Park. It was the United Workers' Party that built the Sanssouci housing scheme. It was the United Workers' Party that built Entrepot. So we have always been a party of the future. And the Labour Party has always been a party of destruction and a party of the past. And so, Mama Flambeau, what we showed St. Lucia tonight was just a snippet of what is to come in a promising future that exists within the ranks of the United Workers' Party. I thought there for a second, I say Spider, who's a good friend of mine, I had to wonder whether he really liked me. Because he had me to speak after Kishon. Joshua, who was amazing.
So was Kishon. Vilma, who was a firecracker from my area in River Meter. Rush from Castries Central. Samuel from Meekwood South. And then the Pepper, Nancy Charles from Viewfort North. But Mama Flambeau, as we gather here tonight, our young people are at the greatest level of risk. Their very survival is under threat. Very few empowerment programs by this government and no consequential budgetary allocation for the youth in the last 3 financial years. No wonder our young people remain despondent about our political system. I am still saddened that this government ended the National Apprenticeship Program, which the cabinet of which I was proud to be a part of, put a lot of effort into training hundreds of young people to compete for jobs right here in St. Lucia and all around the world. They went on cruise ships and worked for good money and developed themselves and fed their families and built homes and started a future. The United Workers' Party has always been a party of the future. And so, as we speak tonight, we must not lose sight of the fact that to many of the young people of which we will need to engage in this coming election, that those people to politics, it may seem boring, it may seem divisive, and even toxic. Overwhelmingly, people their age want politics to tell better stories, to reflect better values, and to solve rather than to worsen our country's problems. You, the young people that are here tonight, you want politics to reflect your vision, to reflect your dreams, to reflect your aspirations. Politicians insulting each other can seem detached from your reality, from your issues, from your problems, and can be discouraging to you, the young people of our country. My mother often asks me, son, why are you in this profession where all people do is bring each other down and find mudslinging and to stain each other's character? Don't get me wrong. My mother looks at every show and she's among one of my biggest supporters. But with good reason. She was worried about the mudslinging and the character assassination that's so often associated with politics. Like many St. Lucians, she feels that our parliamentarians should be about passing laws that will better the life of the people of St. Lucia rather than sending Mwepri at 2 opposition members in the parliament pass laws so that the lives of the people of the country can be better. My mother agreed with a former US president who said that politics is often not the solution to our problems. Politics is the problem. Many St. Lucians often voice their concerns that political debates can sometimes seem distant from what they are going through. Their issues with high cost of living, of trying to send their kids to school, of trying to make ends meet and to make things happen for their children. As you know recently by now, that we have just received word from the doctors and nurses. They wrote a letter to the board of the Owen King EU Hospital complaining that our healthcare system has reached, under the Labour Party administration, an all-time low. Instead of fixing our healthcare system, our government is today busy marching for little progress that they have made in the last 3 years of our country. Our doctors decried. regular occurrences of patients suffering severe illnesses and cannot find basic amenities like a bed in the hospital, or cannot get basic medication to help them cure terminal illnesses. Rather than address the doctor's concerns, a certain notorious government minister in the present cabinet felt that the wisest thing to do was to violently attack the president of the Mental and Dental Association. This, to me, only serves to undermine the public perception of politics and politicians. We don't need no more hopelessness in politics. We need politics to shine a bright light into this country. Let us then, therefore, lift up the torch of the United Workers' Party and shine a light and give our country hope so that people can believe in our political system again. All right, Spider, I forgive you for setting me up. Yet, this is a system which we depend on for good policies on student loans necessary for several young people that are here tonight, for scholarships that many young people aspire to, for cost of living, and to create better paying jobs so that our young people can have a brighter future. This is the system through which we can make our country one of the greatest places on earth to live. This is the system that all of us hope that can cause us to realize our dreams and to be the best version of our individual selves. Our political system has a significant responsibility in delivering all those things. But as I speak to some youth here tonight, people like you have lost hope in this system. In fact, many here tonight might find it more interesting that Vybz Kartel was freed from jail rather than what our Prime Minister has to say on the news. I don't blame you, because not just you, many people have given up on our Prime Minister. Our Prime Minister has been the all-time worst Prime Minister in the history of our country. So while Ralph Gonsalves in St. Vincent is taking Vybz Kartel to breakfast and is being featured on TikTok, our Prime Minister is the most featured Prime Minister on Lucian memes. While they ask questions as to whether, a simple question, did you or did you not attempt to settle with Philip Martinez out of court? Our Prime Minister said, lawyers speak to lawyers. Poor Andre Paul is still waiting for his question to be answered. And when they ask him continuously, what are you in your capacity as National Security Minister going to do about the current crime crisis? The Prime Minister says, my father was the police officer. I am not the police officer. And so I understand where you are, young people of this country. In the election of 2016, the research suggests that 55% of our electorate showed up to vote. And in the election of 2021, only 51, 4% less, thousands of St. Lucian less, went to the polls to cast their votes. It tells you that more and more people in our country is increasingly losing their trust in the political system. And many young people are among those that are disinterested, that are not engaged. I often remark, though, that this generation, the young generation, all that talent that you see that spoke to us today with such power and vigor and vitality, that they are the most educated generation. They are the most innovative generation. They have the best access to information and the best access to technology. But yet, they are the least inspired by and the least engaged in our political system. So if our most educated generation doesn't confront the challenges of our failing political system, then it makes it harder to create the effective change needed for nation building. If you remain detached from the political discourse of our country, then our country will be robbed of some of the most creative and sharpest and most innovative and brightest minds that we need to tackle issues like climate change and food security and the housing crisis and the crime crisis and all these issues which the St. Lucia Labour Party has continued to fail the country in. We need you, the young people, to organize yourselves. If you do not stand up, the current problem of too few scholarships will persist. If you remain uninvolved, a lack of investment in training the skills to compete in jobs for the future, the new economy of artificial intelligence and cybersecurity and data protection will continue to be underinvested in. If you don't participate in this broken system, a lack of student loans crippling your ability to study will continue. If you don't get involved, a lack of effective programs to tap the wealth of entrepreneurial spirit that exists among you right here in this room will persist. By you remaining detached, it will create an environment that allows a housing minister to put more time in a toxic talk show than to mobilize the best minds and to solve the current crisis of affordable homes that we currently face in this country. History teaches me, though, this, that some of the greatest movement for change in nation building were when young people like you stood up. In our post-colonial period, when wages and working conditions were poor, young people stood up. The youth of that day organized themselves into trade unions, and they let the system of that time know that a fair day's work deserves a fair day's pay. They didn't come up with a minimum wage that was less than adequate to meet the basic necessity of life, where people who are living just above the poverty line can't make ends meet because of an insufficient minimum wage. It was at universities and colleges around the world that St. Lucian students contemplated, conceived, and executed our struggle to be a free people, and which ultimately led to our independence today. Again, young people stood up. They raised their collective voices against the oppressive system of the time and said that our country might be small, but if we come together and stand up, we can unleash a destiny and a purpose that is big and that is strong. Again, young people stood up. Young people in the 50s saw a future for the Caribbean that embraced freedom and equality for all. They felt then that regardless of who you know, what you look like, or which school you have been to, that we are one people, we are one nation with a common destiny. Again, young people stood up. Not so long ago in St. Lucia, people had to be of a certain skin color to work in banks and front desk of certain hotels. It was the young people who looked at this injustice in its face and said, "Judge me not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character." Again, young people stood up. All through history, young people like you stood up to make St. Lucia a more perfect place to live. It is now our time to stand up. It is now our time to lift our voices, to topple the failed policies of our generation and make St. Lucia a better place to live. Something must be wrong when a prime minister doesn't come clean on the real truth about the CIP program. Something is fundamentally wrong when year after year the youth unemployment is higher than the national unemployment in our country. And it must be something fundamentally wrong when a minister refuses to inform the public of how many passports he has allocated for an investment to do a certain project. And it must be intolerable when doctors in our hospitals get attacked for saying the truth about the poor state of our healthcare system, which continues to fail our grandmothers and our grandfathers and our uncles and our aunties and our children and our brothers and sisters. We must stand up. They need us to stand up. So it is now our time to stand up and end the senseless killings of young people all over this country. One of my heroes in Ancillary Canaries is a young man who, for privacy reasons, I will name Sebastian. And Sebastian, one evening, attended a social event in his community. And unbeknown to him, this was a night when gunshots would consume the atmosphere. And the crowd would scamper for safety. Sebastian was among 4 others who received gunshots in the crossfire that night. But as he laid on the ground in his own blood, he said these words to himself: "My life will not end here. I will not die like this. God, please don't make me die here. You know that there is something big that I have to do for you." Sebastian today goes around his community and encourages young men to stay away from gangs, stay away from guns, get a skill, get trained, get a job, start a business. Sebastian has stand up. Sebastian is standing up. And just like Sebastian, you too can stand up and cause change in your community. This is your time. This is your moment. Do something greater than yourself and stand up for change, everlasting change. I thank you, Mamai Flambeau.